one of you for being here with me today. And boy, do I have some delicious goodies for you today. Today is October the 23rd, 2024, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd like to first and foremost, Donna, Marty was in the house and he was trying to steal all of my nuts. That crazy guy. And guess who, Nancy? Thanks, sweetheart, for joining me. I appreciate all of you. So, are we ready to get this party started? Boy, I love a good chocolate dessert, and it took me a little while to find this one. And a friend gave it to me. She works in the schoolhouse. So I was really lucky. She condensed it down that I would be able to make this for all of us today. So, through the magic of TV and the YouTube, I have pre-made one and it's cooling. That way I'll be able to streamline today. So we're going to go ahead and get this going. So let me slip in. Hey Nancy, ooh, I'm going to get that squirrel. Me too. I come out here and had everything ready, and that silly old Marty was already sitting here trying to eat my nuts. That crazy little squirrel. I tell you, he's sassy today. So, we're going to need our mixing bowl. And I'm going to show you the easiest way that she told me to do this. And that's what we're going to do. So, really simple. We're going to add our eggs. So, we need to do those first in the bottom. So, it's amazing to me. Room temperature eggs do make a difference. These I sat at before we went to therapy today. And yes, it does take 4 eggs. One cup of melted butter. And it is not warm. I just left it, I warmed it up before I went to therapy today. And when we come home, it's just been sitting here. So I will reuse this in just a minute so that I can get my yeast going as well. So I'm just going to lay my scoop here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our vanilla. And then it's 4 teaspoons of vanilla in case I did not say that. Then really good chocolate Hershey powder. Who doesn't love a good powder, right? You would think that you would need to honestly add the powder to the flour, but you don't. This is all pre-measured so that we're ready for this today. So now we add the sugar, and the flour is the last thing. How cool and quick is that? So it's 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of flour for these brownies. So we'll get all of this goodness going. You can see the little flour, right? So I'm just stacking all of my mess because I like to keep cleaned up as I go along. So I have my mixer over here today. I did not move it over. And this is going to go for about 3 to 4 minutes on medium. So you're going to start real slow and just let it get all worked together. So I'll set this aside. And while I'm waiting on that, I am going to do pizza dough with you today. So I'm going to show you a little tip for that as well. Let me get my water ready. You want to make sure that your water is not too warm. So it's 1 1/3 cup of water. I want to make sure that I have that measured correctly. So this is how simple the dough is going to be. You're going to take your sugar, you're going to take your salt, and you're going to take your yeast. I'm doing a double batch, and the recipe is in the description box below. And you're just going to add So while one recipe is working, this one here is going to be getting ready to work for us. And how cool is that? You just stir it, set it, and forget it. So by the time we get ready, you're going to see I'm doing it in a jar so that you're going to be able to see I'm moving this up to where the water line is. So I'm going to know when it's really good and frothy. If you don't have a jar to use, I do highly, highly recommend that you get a gum band and stick it on your jar. You need that salt for the bite that's going to be in this pizza dough recipe, and you need the sugar to help activate that yeast for the pizza dough. I'm going to leave this out because like I said, I'm doing a double recipe, so I need to make sure that that sits aside because I'm going to need to add another 1 1/3 cup of warm water to everything when we're ready. So turn this up on high, and the recipe says count to about 10 or 15. So that way it's really, really incorporated. Pull it off. Wait till you see all this goodness. You have your 9 by 13 baking dish. I have it lined with the parchment paper. My oven is already preheated. So I can sit this aside. I will reuse it again. So this is all mixed extremely well. Some people say, can I lick the batter? Can I lick it? When I was a kid, I did. My mom let my kids do it, and it never killed them. So, if you want to taste it, yes, go ahead. People eat raw eggs, so I don't know why you couldn't. So I'll stick that in. So, let me get this. I need to use the bigger one because I want to make sure that you can see in the bowl how amazing this looks. See how fluffy it is? It's better than your boxed recipe by far, and you won't be disappointed. This will bake 18 to 24 minutes. You are going to be able to stick a toothpick in and check your recipe and see if it's coming out. It's still going to have the cake batter to it. You don't want to overcook these. You don't want to, overwork your batter at all. That's what's going to keep these chewy, ooey, gooey, and delightful. You can add whatever you want. If you would choose to add chocolate chips to this for more decadent, more of the chocolate, feel free to. It's not going to hurt a thing. So then you're just going to spread this out into your baking dish. And I really like this Pyrex because it gives the even heat in our gas range. And just smooth it out. That you're going to be surprised how big and thick these guys get. I'm telling you, they really do. So, let that sit there. You'll see me grabbing paper towels the entire day, and that's okay. Let me see if I can hold this up so you would be able to see how nice and gorgeous that looks. Is it not pretty? So this is going in the oven. Joe, can you please set timer for me for 18 minutes?
Actually set timer for 18 minutes.
So let me slip to chat real quick and skim and tell everyone that's here today. Hello, hello, hello. Donna, Louise, Greenland Quilter. Ooh, I'll clean that batter off me too. I'm telling you, it's so yummy. Brownies are really good with cream de mint. You're not kidding. I'm supposed to be working on this, but it's much more fun listening to Donna in the background. I love it. Love it. Thank you for joining me. As you can see, I am not going to wash this out because we're going to do the frosting. But through the magic of television in the YouTube, I've got one already ready. So I will pull this out so you will be able to see all of this goodness. So let me hit this paper. The parchment paper is the blessing because it's going to help so much. And I will move this over in just a minute. But I do want to go ahead and get this mixture going. Your butter is not melted for the frosting. So you don't want to melt it. You just want it to be room temperature. So you're going to add your butter. You're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. You're going to add 6 teaspoons, half cup basically, of your milk. You're going to add your cocoa powder. Oh, that smells divine. Then we're going to add 3 cups of powdered sugar. We do want this to be light and fluffy. So let me get this working. So we're going to use the beater that's going to make the magic happen. And you're just going to let it work its magic on its own. So you start it out really, really slow, and then you go from there. So I have all of these out of my way now, and I'll put the dishes in the sink so that I can work on them in just a little bit. The nuts, Donna, yes. That darn Marty, he was in here. I had all of these whole, and Marty was out here chewing them up. So I was like, get out of him. And he had his little knife here chopping up my nuts. What a good little fella. So this is going to take, you don't want to overbeat this. You just want it to mix. If you think it's too thick, you can thin it down with a little bit of water added to it. But look how gorgeous. So let me move my phone out of the way. Move it over here, move my yeast out of the way. That way you can see how gorgeous this looks. Look at this. It did concave, is what the recipe said it would, into the center, and that's where all the icing, frosting, whichever term you choose to use, will lay. So this is going to be amazing. So I don't know why I'm using such a small one. So we'll get a bigger one. That way it'll work a little bit easier for me. Hello Joyce, Louise, and everyone. I'm going to have to watch the beginning. I'm telling you, this recipe is like amazing. So you're going to take it in the bowl because you're going to have a little bit of that powdered sugar that we didn't push down on this side. But it's very important that you do not, the recipe says you do not overmix this. So you just get it all out and it's like heaven in here, I'm telling you. And that quick, in about 25 minutes, takes like 3 minutes max to make up the frosting. It took 20 minutes to bake in the oven. You let it cool for about 10-15 minutes. And you have heaven in a bite. I'm not kidding. Joe's laughing. I don't know what he's laughing.
Like a little kid, almost wants to clean the bowl.
Who does? Donnell?
Like a little kid.
Joe's in the living room laughing. Let me see. Ooh, I clean the bowl when you finish with it. Me too. I wish I could eat the sweets. I'm a diabetic. Bummer. I am a diabetic as well, but I do make them for the family. And now inside of this goodness, where it caved in, is that not pretty? Yeah, it is. So I have it spread just about the way that I want. And if I could have kept Marty out of the kitchen long enough today, I would have more nuts. I'm only going to put nuts on half maybe, because my granddaughter does not like nuts. So Joe and I do, so I'll do half with nuts. So you would normally use half a full cup for this and really sprinkle them in, but I didn't. So that is your recipe for the brownies. Now, was that not super easy? Yeah. So let me see if I can get the boss to come in and sample one. These are cool enough now that I can cut. And I want to make sure that the recipe says I can get 16. And I do believe we will. And it says to let this cool, which I have. And this, and I'm telling you, these are a good reminder of exactly the way the schoolhouse brownies were when I was a kid growing up. So the recipe for the brownies is in the description box. And I assure you, you won't be disappointed. Joe, would you please come try these? I make the boss try first. There you go.
Thank you.
Tell me what you think. I'm going to cut a corner off and sample.
Oh, they're terrible. They're not worth eating.
You say they're terrible, people. What are we going to do with him?
They're delicious.
My guy, I'm telling you. They're ooey. They're very, very gooey. And they are delicious. I don't care what the boss says. You won't be disappointed. So now I'll just take this. Move this out of sight over here. That way they will stay warm, because when my granddaughter gets home from school, she'll be able to enjoy them just a little bit. Give me 1 second and we're going to get the recipe started as well. I need a sous chef, one that'll step in and do my dishes. And if I could work the dough like a magic for this pizza, I would definitely do it. That way it would be done up. Nice and clean. Hi, Papa Joe, LOL. Those edges look so good. I always want the corner part too. That's my favorite. You're going to have to put Marty on a leash when you're cooking. I went to therapy and didn't even think, and I had it all set up in here. So I would be ready to go when I got home. And that little fella, I'm telling you what, we got him about 10 minutes ahead, or he would have had all the nuts gone. You're all so cute. So we've got our mixing bowl ready. For this one, we definitely need to use the hook. Gonna get another third of water. And make sure that I do have that level out good, and I do. So now we're gonna take our flour. And there's some stuff we're gonna add that's gonna give this dough such goodness. So if you're ready for that, let's get the dough going. Because this girl loves her dough. So I'm not gonna put the wet ingredients in yet. What we're going to do is mix all of the dry. I have parsley here. And that's gonna help with your recipe. You're gonna wanna break it with your hands. And that's gonna like wake up if it's sleeping. It's gonna warm it up really good. I have Italian seasoning blend. You're gonna do the same there. And just rub it and mix. Then we've got garlic salt, not garlic powder, garlic salt. It's very important you use the right one. Now we're going to mix this all together. And this is your homemade pizza dough. I'm doubling my recipe here. And it is in the description box as well of today's video. I like to make it ahead and freeze it. That way, if Joe and I decide we want to make a personal pan pizza, it's ready. All I have to do is pull it out, leave it sit for 20-30 minutes. It'll come to a full rise, and then we're ready to go. I know my measurements are dead on. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this mixture into my mixing bowl. I'm not going to worry about, do I have too much, do I not have enough, because it's right. When you've done so many of these, trust the process. It's 7 cups of flour, if anybody's asking. And, whew, do I have a cloud going? So I'm going to make a little pocket here. I'm going to add my oil. And that is olive oil, the extra virgin. We're going to add our yeast. You can see it's definitely good yeast because here's my band and it's all the way up to right here at the rim. And we're going to pour this in. We know the yeast is active because we've tested it. You don't want to not test your yeast. I've seen people that just go ahead and, oh, it'll work. They find out differently. So we're going to get the mixer going. This is going to run several minutes. So while it is, I'll get everything set up for us to continue playing together for a little while. So I want this to go really slow, and then I'm going to start adding the extra warm water. And you're going to do it slow. And you're going to let the mixer do the work for you. And I guess I could have brought this over with the island. I will add it. Joe said I may not have put it in. So I will add that as soon as I'm off the live. I can't do it right now. So where I have all of this extra goodness, it's going in the sink. I'm going to set up now because I do have to work the dough just a little bit when it's ready for me. I do like the silicone mat. It helps tremendously. So now it's beating really well. So I'm going to let the mixer do the work. When I start to see that pull off of the sides, I know it's ready for me to work here. So we'll give it a few more minutes and just let that work. Hi Becky, did you start your sourdough starter from scratch? Yes, I did. It is exactly one half cup of water warm, one half cup of your either wheat, rye, or you can use the white. I prefer to use my sourdough starter with the wheat. It seems like it never dies on me. Every day, what you do is you stir it up, pour some out, add back in. And the sourdough starter, I have some here, and once I want it to go to sleep, let's just see which side of the fridge it is. Give me 1 second. My daughter might have it. No, here it is. It's in the fridge, in the jar. When you're ready to put your sourdough starter to sleep, all you do is tighten your lid, and I put a sealed lid so that will stop the process. Then when I'm ready to wake it up so that I can use it, I'll take this, sit it on the counter the night ahead, and it wakes the yeast up, and the sourdough starter comes to life. I'll pour half off, use it, and then restart, and then I'll leave it sit here on the stove. That way it will come to a better temp.
Chris wants to know where you found your mat at.
I will add that in the description box.
Know where you found it.
The silicone mat, I will add that in the description box if Jay reminds me. If not, you guys remind me. So, are you ready? Now it's going to get fun. I made a double recipe, remember that. So, I'm not going to measure. This here is just cornmeal. I like to roll mine out into where I'm going to divide it up in cornmeal. It's going to give a really good texture, and I can use this mat for anything. I do it for my breads, for my pies, whatever I'm cooking. That comes in quite handy. I love these containers too because it keeps everything fresh and airtight. Joe just asked her Donna now, and she said she would put in the description box. Hold on. I'm probably missing some of the chat.
Alexa,
Where says you find that smart? I got it off of Amazon, but I'll share with my affiliate link all of the items that I used today. Okay, sweetheart. So now we have, look at this dough. You can see all of the goodness. You won't be disappointed with this recipe. Joe's telling me to check my brownies. So give me just a second. They're still really ooey chocolatey. So give it another 5 minutes, please, Joe.
Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes.
So now I'm going to take some and just press it down really easy. I'm not sure about you guys, but how many of you make homemade pizza? We do a lot. And you can put anything you want on it. This dough is going to have the texture of what you would buy at a pizza parlor. Yeah. Yummy goodness. I'm just working it in so it'll sit with a little bit of it, because I want to fold it in just like this. The cornmeal is all over the outside, and that's really important because I'm going to freeze mine. And then when we want it, all I have to do is lay it out. I'm not going to let it come to its rise yet, where I could sit this out and just let it rise. But what we do here is I have silicone reusable Ziploc bags. We use these for almost everything. We're trying to get rid of the regular Ziploc and use these. They're washable, they're durable, and they work fabulous. Homemade personal pizzas are a tradition every Christmas. I tell you what, you won't be disappointed. So I'm gonna get 2 balls in each one. And I'm gonna eyeball and put, I wanna say probably a good 2 or 3 teaspoons of vegetable oil in. That's gonna keep the balls from sticking as well as sticking to each other. You're just gonna eyeball it. Joe and I love garlic. So you're gonna see how all of this is going to come together in just a minute. Easy peasy. So I wanted to make sure that I have it cut. So I'm gonna cut this in half. And as I'm doing it, it's starting to rise back up. So if you're not going to use these straight away, you definitely want to get them into the freezer or your refrigerator as soon as you can. Look at all of that goodness. I'm hoping you can see all that swirly goodness. So I'm going to pinch it and just roll it into the ball that I would need when I'm ready. Then I'll do the same for this one. And just all you're doing right now is prepping these for your bags. Now see how this unrolls? You want to keep it like that. So you're just going to close your sides. When you're ready to use this, lay it out in the morning in your Ziploc bag and let it do the magic of rising. You won't be disappointed at all with these recipes. And what I'm bringing to you is really cool. Oh girl, that looks awesome. I'm telling you what, Joe and I like an Alfredo pizza. Joe likes the tomato pizza. So we do pizza night here. And this is what we do. And you just roll it into the ball like this. So simple. And you stick it in. And you stick the second one in. You're going to do the same on this one. You're going to do the same on this one. Seal your bags. And it's kind of like set it and forget it. Get as much air out as you can. I love these bags because you wash them, hang them upside down. If you have a dishwasher, they are dishwasher safe. And the money that we save from the disposable is unreal because we use a lot of the bags. So I'm going to move this out of the way. That way I can lay these down and show you. Now I have my 2 balls formed, and all I'm going to do is press them down just a little bit. And do the same on this one, and the same on this one. Because I want to stop that rising, I need to get a little more air out of this one. Let me see. There. And that's all there is to it. I don't even have to write on the bags because they're so clear. There's no freezer burn ever. And these seal up better than any bag that I've ever used before. Let me see. And just flip it over. Now the oil is going to keep it from sticking to the bag, and it's going to keep your dough soft so it doesn't dry out in the freezer. Check this one more time. Still not done. Okay, hold on. Cooking with Danny. When you're making your homemade pizza, do you soak it in the hose before you add the sauce? Yes, I do. Once we roll it out, like I lay it out about 30 minutes before we're ready to cook with it. And then once I have it rolled out on our baking dish, I dock it with the fork and let some of it's going to help keep all those air bubbles from blowing up your pizza. And it really helps. Everything is good here at Cook with Danny. Thanks for asking. I hope all is well for you, Danny. It's always a pleasure to have you. Hello, Teresa Lewis, and welcome, sweethearts. Does anyone have any questions? I'm sorry I couldn't pay attention to chat, but Joe will put these in our freezer out on the sun porch, and really easy peasy. This is gonna bake for another few minutes, but now that they've gotten a little too warm, I can move this back over here, pull one out, now that they're good and warm. And see, can you see all that goodness? I'm telling you, this one's mine. So, everyone, you have a fabulous day. Thank you for joining me today. And Joe, he is here at my ride or die. You guys, please give a thumbs up if you like the cooking videos that we are bringing to you. And it's stuff that I'm trying to do to keep mobility on the left side and keep me chatting with you guys. So, everyone, take care, God bless, have a fabulous day, and enjoy this beautiful weather that you're having. Take care, bye-bye.
Sure.
Hand me the iPod. Sorry, guys. There you go.
That's good. Well, we can trim it.
It's not shutting off, baby. My hands, I can't give it to shut off. Sorry, guys. I guess we get to hang out for a few more minutes.